Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today in this video, I wanted to talk about the mini chatterbaits on the market, like this one right here. This is the Mini Max chatterbait from Z-Man, but also like the Baby Jack is a great example. That one's a newer one that was introduced in March at the Classic, I think. And anyways, really awesome to see more of these small finesse, if you want to call them finesse, because I mean, look at the hook on that thing. It's pretty stout. I mean, you can throw it on 20-pound test, no problem. So it's not necessarily finesse, it's just a smaller profile and smaller presentation to match smaller bait fish. But I'm really happy to see Z-Man specifically really broadening that category of, size class of chatterbaits. But on this video, what I wanted to do was share with you the handful of soft plastic or Elastec baits that I like to use as trailers on the back of my mini chatterbaits. So there's a lot of different trailers for fishing mini chatterbaits nowadays. It really, just a couple of years ago, there wasn't a lot of options. Really, you had some like small jerkbaits and maybe some swim baits that you could put on the back of a mini chatterbait. But other than that, that was pretty much it. So the first baits that I want to show you are, what I call my kind of do nothing trailers. They're not, they don't do nothing because they actually do have a lot of action, but they don't, if you put them on a jig head by themselves, they wouldn't create any action by themselves. You would have to actually impart the action. With a chatterbait, the blade is imparting the action. So those are the Chatter Shad. So the Chatter Shad comes in a 3.5-inch version. This one's really awesome. It's a jointed style bait, very anatomically correct with a lifelike tail. And again, by itself, it doesn't have a lot of swimming action. It doesn't have like a paddle tail or anything like that. But if you put it on the back of a chatterbait, those very thin segmented areas create a very fluid swimming action when they're engaged by the blade of the chatterbait. So this is a really good one. We'll just put each of these on there. This one's one of my favorite ones overall for using as a trailer on one of the small chatterbaits. Okay, put that on there. Perfect profile. It looks like your regular chatterbait with like the 4.5-inch Chatter Shad on the back, but just downsized. All right, so really good profile for this. Baits like this, the Chatter Shad, because they don't have a swimming tail on there, or like curl tail or paddles or anything like that, it's not going to create a ton of drag, so it's going to allow you to get a little bit deeper, which is sometimes a benefit. And also, it doesn't take away from the hunting action. You could have the same exact Mini Max side by side, same weight, same color, same exact chatterbait, just two of them, and one will have the hunting action and one won't. It's hard to know which ones will. In fact, it's impossible. I can't look at one coming out of the package and say that one's going to hunt and that one doesn't. It just, you have to fish them. But this style of trailer tends to work really well to not hinder that hunting action because it doesn't create a lot of drag. Another bait that I think is even better for bringing out that hunting action at times is just like a Streaks 3.75. This is just a small little jerkbait. A lot of people are fishing it with the jig head minnow setup. Again, on the back of this chatterbait, it's gonna create less drag. It's gonna have it's going to allow this bait, if it does have that hunting action, to move around quite a bit. It's not going to prohibit that. And it's just got an overall great profile to it. The tail on this one's a little bit wonky out of the package. But anyways, I do like the Streaks 3.75 for fishing on the back of a chatterbait sometimes, especially in colder water. Cold and clear water, I like those more streamlined ones that are either like a jerkbait, like the Streaks 3.75, or the 3.5-inch Chatter Shad. Those are the ones that I like for clear and colder water. You know, I just don't feel like it overpowers the overall action of the chatterbait. So now we're going to get into more, you know, more self action moving baits, if you will. So baits that if you put them on a jig head and cast them out, they would have swimming action by themselves, which very often in dirty water conditions and low light conditions, low visibility conditions, I like a bait that has some inherent action to add to the chatterbait profile already. So you not only have the blade that's creating flash and vibration and movement, but you also have a bait, you know, a trailer that's adding a little bit of action. Now, if these baits right here that I'm going to show you, they're not great for like getting down to the maximum depth because they're going to create a little bit more drag, but they are good again in low light conditions, low visibility conditions, and also warmer water too. So the first one is this one right here. This is the 3-inch minnows. I've actually cut off a little bit off of this one. The minnows is a really, really great profile for fishing with a mini max or something like that. That's it right there. Looks really, really good on the back. Got a great swimming action, and just overall fills out the profile to look like a shad very well when this thing's moving through the water. The next one is one that, you know, especially if I'm trying to imitate bluegill or crawfish, this is one of my favorites, but also for shad is the baby goat from Z-Man. You can see it's got these 2 kicking feet here. This one right here, you can either rig it horizontal with the kicking feet side by side, or vertical where they're on top of each other. If I'm imitating a shad or a bluegill, generally I'll rig it where the legs are on top of each other, like this. Okay. All right. Or if I'm trying to imitate a little crawfish, I'll rig it sideways. And also if I'm fishing around wood and I don't want to snag as much, I'll rig it sideways. So the kicking feet are side by side. All right. So looking from the bottom, that's the wide part. And the reason why I say if I'm fishing around wood is because chatterbaits are pretty snaggy, but they're less snaggy if you have a wide body trailer that, you know, ends up keeping that hook point up as it goes over the cover as opposed to rolling on its side. So I do like the action and the overall profile of the baby goat, especially if I'm imitating crawfish. But I like this one a lot. This is a new bait that Z-Man came out with called the Diesel Kickers. It's designed for saltwater, but looking at this thing, just seeing how anatomically correct it looks very lifelike, like a actual threadfin shad or some type of bait fish. And so I was just like, man, that's going to be a great trailer on the back of a chatterbait. It is a little bit wide-bodied, which can be a benefit, but I think that it's going to cause these baits to kind of pull up to the surface a little bit more. And that's what I've found so far, at least. So you might need to upsize as far as the weight of the chatterbait they're using if you're wanting to get a little bit deeper. But overall, man, that to me is one of the most accurate shad profiles out there on the market. And really the tails aren't that big. Like, they're actually smaller than the baby goat, and just they actually look like a fin. They're just designed a little bit more lifelike. So that one's another really good one. I really like this one when it's a little bit dirtier water, for sure, because it's just a bigger profile. It pushes more water, all that stuff. But anyways, guys, those are just some thoughts on some really, really great options for chatterbait trailers. Again, all these are Z-Man baits. So like, I'm not just pushing that because I work with Z-Man. Literally, to me, as long as they have a design that I like for fishing on the back of a trailer, or as a trailer on the back of a chatterbait or swim jig or whatever it is, I'm going to choose a Laztec because it's more durable, number one. It's very soft, so it has a ton of action. And I just, especially the durability factor, man, the fact that you could throw, as long as it doesn't fall off of the thing, which you put a little bit of super glue on it, you pretty much marry the chatterbait and the trailer together for life. You pretty much can catch 100 fish, 100 plus fish on that one trailer. So to me, that's a big deal. But anyways, guys, just wanted to show you that kind of a long drawn out explanation of these different trailers. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to put all the links to all these trailers in the description below. Just get out there and throw a mini chatterbait, and you're going to catch them this time of year especially. So thank you, guys. I'm going to see you out on the water. Trust the process.